Hey everybody, it's Paul with the SimpleDim PowerPoint plugin app that helps you use PowerPoint to create dimensioned and scaled diagrams and drawings easily. And today we're going to do a demo and draw a warehouse shell. The shell is going to have column lines and grid lines, and it's going to have dock doors, and it's going to have some dimensions that you can use to do layouts or other planning in PowerPoint. So why don't we get started? If you've got SimpleDim installed, the first thing you're going to do is go up and set the scale for the slide. So here we'll go ahead and set 80 feet per PowerPoint inch. Confirm the scale is set. Then we're going to use SimpleDim to draw the box of the warehouse. And we'll say that we've done some math already, so we'll say this one's going to be 840 feet wide by 420 feet tall. There's our warehouse shell. We'll go ahead and change the color off of the red. And now we're going to go ahead and set our columns. Actually, before we do that, why don't we set some dimensions so that when we're done, we have everything properly dimensioned for use. So here I use the linear dimension. I drag the handles of the dimension line to the points where I wanted to take the distance between. And once you drag the handles and then click out of the group, it updates the distance on the linear dimension. So we can see this is an 840 by 420 foot box. The next thing we're going to do is set the column lines. So we have a 50-foot or a 56-foot grid going from left to right and a 50-foot grid going from north to south with 60-foot speed bays. So why don't we go ahead and set some spacers. We'll do our horizontal grid, or the north-south running grid line first. We'll use a line shape to set our 56-foot space initially, and we'll have that be 90 degrees. So when you use the line column, actually that should have been horizontal line. So we'll go ahead and say 56 foot, 0 degrees. That gives us a good spacer to use for our column lines. We'll create another line. This one will be 420 feet tall at 90 degrees. This will actually turn into the grid line by the time we're done. So we drop that in, we have it snapped to the spacer. We'll go ahead and change the styling a little bit. Something more appropriate than red for grid lines. Now we'll go ahead and select that, go up to SimpleDim and create an array. And what we want here is we'll go ahead and say we want 0 rows, but I think we want, let's call it 14 columns at 56-foot spacing. And there we go. There are the rest of our column lines. Now when we create an array in SimpleDim, it creates the array grouped. So we'll ungroup these and delete the last item so we can see our building shell. While we're here, we'll go ahead and create a linear dimension just so people can see how wide there we go, how wide the grid lines are. Perfect. And then the next thing we're going to do, also while we're here, why don't we grab this and put an area dimension in it so we can see the area of the box. Great. Now we'll go ahead and create the rest of the grid. So we'll create another line. Now we want the speed bay to be a 60-foot speed bay, so we'll go ahead and create the speed bay spacer up the top of the building shell. Create another line. That will be the length of the building, so we'll say that's going to be 840 feet, 0 degrees. Here we go. Nice, that snaps right about, there may be a little bit of variance in here based on how PowerPoint calculates distances on a slide, but should be pretty close. So that's going to be our 60-foot speed bay, and we know that we need some number of rows at the 50-foot spacing, so we'll go ahead and create another array. This will add 6 rows at 50-foot spacing, 0 columns, and we hit OK. There we go. That is the rest of our grid line. while we're here, we'll also put some more dimensions in so that anybody looking at it knows what the different dims are. So here, we should be able to get our 60-foot speed bay. We'll zoom in. Yep. So it went a little past the line. There we go, 60 foot. And we can actually copy and paste that and grab the rest of the shape to show the 50-foot speed line, or the 50-foot grid as well. Okay, so there's our grid, there's our spacing, there's our dims. Now we're going to put some dock doors in. So the way we're going to do this is create one dock door and then an array of dock doors. Say these are 9-foot wide dock doors, we'll make it 3 foot so that we can see it from here. Created the shape where it always creates the shapes. We'll zoom in and style this to something a little more dock door-like. We will drop it on the north dock, somewhere in there. Let's call it right there. That looks good. And then we'll take that shape and we'll create an array of these 9-foot dock doors. We'll add one row, and we'll add it at the height of the building to cover the north and the south docks. So this will be 420 feet. And we'll do 63 doors at 13 feet on center. And there we go. We got an error, probably due to some grouping on the page, but it doesn't interfere with the functionality. Looks like we have a couple extra dock doors at the end. That's fine. And usually when doing a building, you're going to have other features. You might have some offices, you might have some man doors, you might have other things. So if you know where those are going to be, you can go through and delete the doors or create the arrays and work around them as you need. Okay. But here we are. So now what do we have? We have a warehouse shell that's to scale. You've got dimensions showing the size of it. You've got dimensions on the grid line. You show the warehouse grid. You have a bunch of dock doors that are proportionately sized and spaced. So from here, if you knew where you were putting racking or offices or other features in the warehouse, you could lay that all out in PowerPoint to scale. Okay, so this is really powerful. It's really difficult to do that without a good dimensioning and unitizing tool if you don't have CAD. But now you can do it in PowerPoint. All right, we look forward to hearing any comments or anything that you encounter while using the program. And other than that, thanks a lot for listening.